Hey friends, it's Danny. Welcome back to Dine It Frugal. On today's episode, we're making a cheap, easy and delicious French onion soup recipe. This recipe only has 4 ingredients. It's super easy to make and I want to show you how to make it. This is what I'm serving for dinner tonight for the two of us. And I'm going to serve it with some cheesy toasted bread. So if you're wanting to save money, if you're wanting really simple recipes that you can make quickly after a long day at work, this is a great one to have in your repository. So let's get started. Before we get started, in my soup pot I have my butter. Of course, this recipe is going to be on my blog dineitfrugal.com, so if you want to get a printable version or get the full recipe, you can head over there. So this is the butter and we're going to go and add some sliced onions to this. Let's get over to the stove. Alright, I've gone ahead and melted my butter. Now I have my heat over medium-low. You don't want your heat too high for this because we want to sweat our onions off and caramelize them. We don't want to burn them. This is probably the most tedious part of this recipe. Once you get the onions caramelized, it goes together really quickly. So I'm just going to add our onions to the pot. And my hands are clean. That's why I'm using my hands. It's just the fastest way for me to get them in here. There we go. The other thing that I'm going to add is about half a teaspoon of thyme, and I'm just going to add that in there. Now if there are other seasonings or other herbs that you'd like to put in here, you can go ahead. This is just what we like, so I'm just going to use thyme and onions and beef stock, and that's it. And that's going to be our French onion soup base. Sorry, the other thing that I am going to do is add just a little bit of salt into my pan, probably about 1/8 of a teaspoon, just to help those onions sweat down and caramelize. This is such a good recipe to have on a cold winter's night. It's just so warming. It's just really nice to have, and like I said, it is impeccably cheap to make. I think if you don't factor in the cheesy bread or the cheesy toast, then you're probably looking at like under $1 to make this recipe. Okay, so with all of that said, the onions are probably going to take about 20 minutes to saute and become translucent and nice and soft. So I'm going to bring you back once they're ready, and I'll show you what they look like, and then we can get on to the next step, which is really quick. Another thing that I forgot to mention is you want your onions to be sliced really, really thin, or as thin as you can get them. But yeah, they caramelize faster if you cut them really, really thin. If you cut them thicker, you're just going to be waiting a whole lot longer than if you cut them thin, and it just makes the process go faster. So that's just a little tip. I ended up just putting the lid on just to help speed things along. You don't have to. It's just something that I did. I just put it on because I'm going to use it later anyway. Alright, so what I'm doing while I'm waiting for the onions to caramelize is toasting my bread. So I have my bread here, and then I have 2 English muffins for Matt. So I'm just toasting them up, and then we're going to add our cheese and toppings on top of that. And I'm just grilling them. You can do them in an air fryer, you can do them in a toaster. We inherited this oven at the new house, and I'm actually loving having a grill, so I'm going to use it. Okay, so now that I have both sides of my bread toasted, and sorry if you can hear the noise off to the side, it is my grill shutting down. What I'm going to do now is, for my side, my 2 pieces of bread, I bought this apple, date and stout chutney yesterday, and it's super delicious. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that at the bottom before putting my cheese on top. Matt said that he doesn't want it, so I'm just going to do cheese on his. And this part, you get to do whatever you want with, whatever you like, whatever you don't like. You can add, remove, whatever you want, really. You really get to customize this the way that you want it. So I'm going to use 3 different types of cheese, just because I have them on hand. But if you only have one, go with one. I'm going to start off with the mozzarella. And again, put as much or as little cheese as you like. I'm a big cheese lover. I like to have a lot of cheese. Matt's he likes cheese, but he doesn't want too much cheese, I guess. Okay, I'm quickly gonna turn my attention to these onions because they're ready. I'm gonna show you what they look like and hopefully I can move them out into a better position. Here we go. So that's what they should look like. They should be nice and caramelized and brown, but actually, let's see. That's probably better. Like I was saying, they should be browned and caramelized and translucent and cooked through, but you definitely don't want them burnt. That's why you want them on medium low or low, depending on how hot your stove is. That's ready for me. Now, this is an interesting step with this recipe. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add go to my blog for the recipe because I'm doing a half recipe tonight for us since it's just the two of us. So go and get the ingredients from there. Ignore me. I'm going to add water to this. And I'm going to go ahead, give this a quick mix, and we're going to simmer this. I'm going to bring it to the boil and I'm going to simmer this for 15 minutes. That was fun. I almost burned the onions, so thankfully they're back on the stove cooking and we're going to get back to making our cheesy toast. Or cheese on toast, or whatever you call it. I'm going to throw a timer on for 15 minutes just so that I don't forget. That's simmering now and I'm going to get back to this. The next cheese I have is tasty cheese. Now, if you want to make this super easy and don't want to go to even this much effort, if you've got cheese slices on hand, just toast your bread, throw a cheese slice on there and put it back. That's probably the easiest that you're going to get cheese on toast. Look what Matt and I have for dessert. I made apple crumble last night for dessert and we have half left over, so this is dessert tonight. This is so good. I haven't made a video of this yet, but I am going to because I love it so much. It's so delicious and I want to share it with you all because it's such a nice recipe to have on hand if you've got guests over or anything like that and you want to whip up something super simple that's cheap but is going to really be hearty and your guests are going to enjoy. So I want to share that with you as well, and I will in an upcoming video. For now, I'm going to let these rest on the table. I can't be bothered getting the Parmesan cheese out. I sometimes add Parmesan on top. Not going to do that tonight. I'm just going to let these rest here until our onions are pretty much cooked when the 15 minutes is up. And then I'll come back, throw these in the grill. We'll get the rest of the soup finished and then we can serve up for dinner. Our timer's gone off and we are at the last stage of the French onion soup making. So this is what it looks like after the onions have boiled with the water for 15 minutes, and this apparently makes the onions super tender and super soft just by boiling them in a little bit of water, and you don't have to then go and boil them for much longer than that. So what I'm going to do now is, and hopefully I don't end up with a volcano like I did last time, is add my beef broth. So I've just made up my beef broth from a stock cube. And we're just going to add that in. Okay, so just like before, I'm going to go ahead and let this come to a boil and we're going to let it simmer this time for 5 minutes and then we're done. And I'll give it a quick stir as well so that everything is nice and mixed in. I'm going to turn my grill back on so that we can toast our cheese toast so it's ready when we're ready to serve the French onion soup. In they go. Should take about 5 minutes for these to be done. As I move back over here, this is gently simmering. I've just put it on low so that it can simmer. I did have a little bit of a taste and I do need to add a little bit of salt. So you do want to taste it first. Look at how delicious these are, fresh out of the grill. And our French onion soup is about a minute away. Okay, so this is what it looks like fresh off the stove. Because this is just a serving for two tonight, I'm going to go ahead and just serve it up 50-50 and then we're going to sit down and eat. Thank you so much for joining me again in my kitchen today. I really appreciate your support. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you go ahead and make this French onion soup for yourself because it is delicious and it smells so good right now. I can't wait to dig in. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and check out all the other frugal dinner recipes that I've made. Thank you so much. I'm going to go have dinner and I will catch you next time. Bye.